Hello everyone, this is Crystal Potthoff from Peripheral Arts, and I am going to start a series of videos that was inspired by a pattern that Daniela had asked me if I knew how to make an S division. It was something she had seen on Ukrainian Accessories Egger's Facebook page, and it was by Nadia Jennings. Nadia had showed some pictures in the initial stages, and then she came back and shared how she did the division. So this is my version of the S division that Nadia did. It was a lot of fun, and that's what we're going to do in our video that's coming up. But I'm going to take that, and I'm also going to do some other versions of it. I'm just going to get a sneak peek right there. Okay, now they're going off camera because we're going to get to those, but first we're going to start with this one. They all kind of build off the same type process, and it's a lot of fun. So let's get started on this one. All right, so let's get started with the pattern that Nadia had so graciously drawn for us. So she divided her egg into 8 sections. So I'm going to use my pencil and draw the dividing lines. I've kind of already drawn them on here. So I'm just tracing them. Otherwise, I did use my template. I'm not that good at getting it evenly divided, but so I'm going to have 2 vertical lines going all the way around the egg, and then my equator. Now, in Nadia's, she suggested you use a suction cup or freehanded. I have different sizes of suction cups, but I couldn't find one that worked. So I'm just going to freehand it in case you're in that same situation. So what we do is we start, it's kind of it's sort of a backwards S, but that's okay. So I'm going to start up here at the very top, and I'm going to draw a line that comes out like this and crosses at the center point. And then I'm just going to turn it upside down and do the same thing. I'm going to draw it out kind of, and then come back like that. So I did that. Now I'm going to give it a 180-degree turn. So I'm going to skip that one, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to draw it out and come back and out and come back. Now, on her pattern, she also had like this diagonal line going. And what I did was I used my tape measure, and on this here where there is no line going through it, I marked off from this point 1 centimeter in each direction to help me draw this parallel line. So it's going to go like that. So the way I did this, I drew it in several stages. So now I'm going to draw this up to here and up to here. And hopefully that's still about 2 centimeters. Pretty close. Okay. And now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to stop at this line. Okay. So I've drawn that. I've drawn this. Now it's going to touch this, but we have to do something else first. So I am going to do the same thing over here. So I have these little marks here to help me guide me to draw the line and draw this line and drawing it. So I'm drawing it up to that vertical line that I drew for now. Okay, now what I'm going to do, so when I go to wax this, I am not going to wax this line. I am going to draw a line on either side of this line here. You know, maybe I'll do it in blue. And then I'll remember that all the lines I've drawn with blue are the lines I'm going to wax. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. Don't know. And just going to draw it all the way, follow this S all the way around. All right, like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side of the red line. I don't know if this is the whole way that Nadia did it, but this seemed to work for me. And then next week I'll show you some different ways to draw these swirls that I had fun doing while I was learning this one too. So always fun to learn something new. And thank you to Nadia for sharing this. All right. Now what I will do is I will connect these to that. There and there. And then do the same thing over here. All right. Now we have to think about what do we want to put in our band. Probably measure and see how long it is-ish. Mine's about 9.5. So let's see. 9 would be, I think I want 9. Maybe I want 1 and, well, let's see, how big is this? This is like 1.5. So maybe we'll do this at 1.5 intervals. Then that'll give us kind of some nice squares. Yeah, okay, that'll work. All right, so I'm going to divide this and I'll put some elements in here. And then we'll put a design in here. I'll do the same thing there. All right, so I'm going to come back and we're going to start waxing this. I'm going to think about what I want to put in here. Because the whole curve thing is sort of taxing my brain a little bit. Maybe we'll keep these simple. There's 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, there's 6 of them. Okay. So maybe I can do something different in each one or every other one. All right. We'll be back and start waxing. I haven't started waxing yet, but I decided to put this element in here. And so what I'm doing, it's kind of going opposite directions. So this one's going to go this way. So what I did, I drew a curve that went like that. And then I drew this leaf shape. And then I drew this. And then I drew this. And I made it come down. So that was how I did that shape. And then, like I said, I did them so that they were like up, down, up, down. I'm going to do that around it. I wanted to do something different, but kind of simple. And then when we wax this, we'll make it really fun. All right, I'm back and we are ready to start etching, or not etching, waxing this egg. Okay, I am going to start and I'm going to do these outer, I'm going to do the S first. Okay, and I have my Luba's Electric with the fine tip, and I'm using the Ukrainian Accessories blue wax And it's probably very hard for you to see where I'm putting the wax, but we're going to put it all the way around. Oh, it's very hard for me to see the wax. Okay. Let's see. Maybe we'll switch to the candle. Okay, I was trying to get everything in the camera, and that's just not going to work. I have my alcohol lamp here, and if you want to see the egg being waxed, I just can't keep the candle in there, because if I move it, then it's right under the camera, and I don't want to catch my phone on fire. All right, let's start over. We're going to wax this line. Oops. There, now we can see the line. I do like the blue wax, but I drew some very thick blue lines and I just couldn't see the wax on the line. So this is the medium Delrinkiska, and what is left of a block of wax. And let me get right back up where we started. Okay, now we'll do the other side. And where this egg originated from was one of the Facebook groups that is run by Ukrainian Accessories. And this one is called Ukrainian Accessories Eggers. So I think it might be a private group, but you can ask to join it. They just, keep everything polite and pertaining to Pysanky. All right. Okay, so we have that done. So now we're going to do these long lines. We'll do this one. And then we'll do the next one. Okay. And then we'll do this side. Okay, and the second line. I like to think of parallel lines as walking that path right next to God. He's right next to me. I'm the line that's kind of crooked. He's the straighter of the two lines. Okay. Okay. I am going to draw this line here where I divided it. I mean, you don't have to on yours, but I'm going to do it as two, because I have two lines here. So I'm just going to kind of keep it consistent. And this little element that I put in here, it's because it's kind of free form, it doesn't have to be exact. Now, if I were going to do something like an 8-pointed star or something else, I'd want to make sure that I kept everything a little more exact, a little more square. this isn't as critical. Okay, so there we've got that. And now I am going to draw this leaf element here. So it's going to go up. And then I want it to be a really big leaf because I'm going to come back in with my next color and put some details in there. And then this one can just kind of go like that. Yeah, I didn't follow the lines at all on that one. That's okay. The lines are just suggestions. Okay. I'm going to fill in that, and then I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to wax that and put in those elements. But now what I want to do is I want to put something else in this area, and I've kind of toyed around with different ideas. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put more wax in my Kiska first off. And then I'm going to wipe it off because I know I got wax on the outside of it. Okay, I'm going to do, on Nadia's, she did like the wolf's teeth, the little triangles. I'm going to do, because I've got like this flowy leaf design, I think I'm going to do things that look like this. Just some little, kind of looks like maybe a little bit of lace. Oh, I didn't draw them big enough. If I had drawn them bigger, I could put little lines in there. Can I? Oh, I can. I did make them big enough. These will look like lace then at the end. I like that. These are nice to do, kind of like with the wolf's teeth. They go well. You can do them easily on a curve. Because they're kind of small and they're easy to, I'm going to say, bend within the design. Okay. Into here. Oops. See, the other nice thing about putting these little lines in here, this one I kind of got a little jagged on it, but by the time I put those lines in there, you don't see it. Okay. Now, when you're doing something like this, I obviously didn't mark it off, so I can see where I'm getting close. So I'm going to get 2 in there. So you just got to kind of work with it as you get around to where they meet up. You have to say, okay, how many can I fit in there? And, all right. Now, I am not going to put anything in this area here. And I'm not going to put anything further in here. I am going to fill these in. And then I'm going to finish doing this. I'll do the same thing over there. And then this, I will do this here and here and here. And then I will plug my egg and I'll put it in the first color of dye. And so I have all the wax on this. How fun does that look? Or I should say I have all the wax for the white. I'm going to plug the egg now, and I'm going to use some of my spaghetti wax. I got this from Ukrainian gift shop. I pinched off a little piece of it. I'm going to roll it around in my fingers and get it smushed into a little ball shape. And then flatten it out. So it looks kind of like that. And I'm going to put it over the hole in my egg. Okay. And now I am going to heat my kiska. And I'm just going to go around it and just kind of solder it into place. Yes, it will leave a little white mark on the bottom of your egg. If you're really unhappy about that, you can use the silicone plugs. You have to, I like to take mine out when I'm waxing because I find it gets in my way, but you can also use like a little Posca marker to touch it up if you have something in a similar color, or you can put a little ornament cap on it. Okay, this one is ready to be dyed in the first color. All right, I'm back. I have dyed the egg yellow. And now we're going to add a few little details. And I'm going to keep using my candle heated kiska for this. But I'm going to use my fine Delrin kiska, where I was using the medium, so I'm going to use the fine. And I hope I have enough alcohol in there to get through this. Okay. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some little dots. Oops, sorry. I'm going to put some little dots like here, kind of all around this. Too small. Okay. And dots can represent seeds of faith. They can be the tears of Mary. So now when I'm getting down to this end, I have to be creative with where I put them. And I can do that. You can just make it up as you go along. This was actually, see, what I had originally intended to do was just put one dot right here. But then when I started doing it, I thought, no, it needs more dots. Dots can sometimes really dress something up a lot. Oops, kind of messed that up. Oh well, that's okay. Okay, so we got dots all around on the inside there. And I'll do that in the other, there's 3 more areas like that. But the other thing I'm going to do is in my leaf thing that I drew here, and this is why I switched to the fine one. I'm going to draw a line right like that. And then in each one of these, I'm not going to put anything in this little leaf. I'm only doing it in the bigger leaf. So originally this was all I was going to do with the yellow was what I'm doing right here. But it was such a pretty yellow. I thought it needed some more yellow on the egg. So that was where I came up with the idea of the dots. And then it went from being a couple dots to being a whole bunch of dots. So, all right. So I will be doing this over here and putting the dots in. And then I am going to dye it in the next color. All right. I have this beautiful red egg. I dyed the egg in Ukrainian Gift Shop red. I'm switching back to my medium Delrin Kiska. I'm using my alcohol lamp, which is off to the side so that I don't burn up my phone. And now we are going to add some elements in red. So I am going to fill in this little leaf, and I'm going to fill in the big leaf. I'm going to do some little overlapping circles. And hopefully get the whole thing filled in. That's always something I've kind of struggled with, is making sure that I have an area completely filled in with wax. All right. So I'm going to do that in all of these. And then I've been trying to decide what I really wanted black for the final color. But I was thinking if at this point I dyed it in the black, I just felt like it didn't have quite enough color on it for what I wanted to do. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to, after I get all the areas with the red waxed, my plan is I'm going to dye it in the Ukrainian Gift Shop purple. Now, the formula for this has changed recently, but the purple that I have, it's not a real deep purple. It's a pretty purple. If you want like a real deep, rich purple, the Ukrainian Accessories Crown Purple is very good, or Pysanky USA Royal Purple. But if you wanted a brighter purple, the Ukrainian Gift Shop purple is very nice. So I think I'm going to dye it in the purple, and then, well, I'll show you when I dye it in the purple what I'm going to do. But I went back and forth on this. And once again, you know, being completely indecisive, I decided I'm just going to go for it. So what I'm going to do is this band here, the big S, I'm making it all red. I thought, is this too much red? Is it going to be overpowering? Let's just go for it. Let's just see what happens. I mean, you're not going to know. You're not going to know unless I just do it, unless I just take the chance and do it. And see, I could have filled in this area here with red, but because I'm doing this part with red, I thought that was definitely too much red. Okay, so this is going to take me a little while because I want to make sure I get really good wax coverage on it. So I'm going to completely fill in this, and then I need to fill in the leaves over here, and then I'm going to dye it in the Ukrainian gift shop purple, and we'll wax that part. And then I'm going to do black. So we'll see how all that turns out. I know it's going to be beautiful. Okay, we are back, and I have dyed it in the purple. And because I did not wash it first, it's a reddish purple, which is what I wanted. So I'm going to go back to using my medium Delrin, getting it warmed up. Okay, all right. And now what I'm going to do is these little areas here, this little here, I'm going to wax that in on both sides, and these. So it'll be framed in, each one of my leaves will be framed in this purple, reddish purple color. And then inside here and here, it'll be the final color, which I'm going to do black. And I'm going to put it straight into the black. I'm not going to, when it's red, usually I put it in like a dark green before I put it in the black to help it take the black better. But it should be okay with the purple. The black will usually cover the purple. Okay. So we'll go down this side. And again, trying to make sure covering everything. I did pretty good on this band here. I shouldn't be getting overconfident here, because this part's a little bit harder. Because it is a little, it's a little harder to see it because the color's darker and the wax is dark. And when you're using the candle heated one, if you put the white wax in there, because you've got the carbon on it, although I am using the alcohol lamp, it doesn't always come out white. So, and I think I'm getting it pretty good. Okay, and then let's do all of these. I just felt like it needed one more color. I just felt like if I'd made it where I'm doing the purple, I just felt like if that was all red, that would have been too much red. And if it was all black, it would have been too much black. So I'm excited to see how this is going to turn out. Okay, so now I need to repeat that over here, and then I will dye it in the black. Okay, so I got so excited and looking at it, I forgot to show you what it looked like before I took the wax off. But here it is done, and it doesn't show up as well here, but there's a pretty good contrast between the purple and the black, and the red swooping around it. I really like this. So I want to thank Nadia again for sharing how to do this division. And then next week, I'm going to show you another way to do a similar type division with a different, just the same result, but doing it maybe a little different way. So there's always more than one way to do things. And you can try this and adapt it to however you would like. So I'll see you next week and with a new pattern of how to do this. Anyway, it'll be fun, and we'll see you then. Thanks for watching.